I'm not sure where you live, whether you live in an urban city, whether you live in a secluded countryside, even if you live in a supposedly quiet place, with the way that technology and life is these days, it's probably hard for you to find a suitable amount of quiet time to just spend alone with God. So how do you get quiet in a world full of noise and confusion? Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I'm God." One of the first ways that you can get quiet, no matter what's going on, is to focus your mind on who God is. And it's kind of funny, but you can be still and get quiet even in the midst of a conversation or an argument. I've been in that position before, in the middle of a conversation, knowing that I was no longer representing God well with my behavior. And came to my senses and just stopped and focused on what I should do. It changed the focus and the tone of the conversation, but more importantly, it centered me. Just taking a couple moments to just be still and to focus, no matter what you're doing. And focus does not mean that you completely take focus off of what you're doing, but you can focus on God and driving. It doesn't mean that you're not watching the road still, but your mind is focusing. And also, another way to do this is to meditate on Scripture. Take a Bible verse for the day, take a Bible verse for the week, and let that be your focus verse. And just keep thinking about how that verse applies to your life now. Let it run through your mind. Ask God to reveal to you what is He trying to say to you through this word. Even if everything that you're doing, even if, like me, you work in ministry and your whole life revolves around you doing ministry and being for God, if you're not taking and spending time with Him, God will force you to do so. And that's something that could be a little scary, but it's real. Your job keeps you so busy that you can't get enough time to spend with God. God can help that job no longer be, and now all of a sudden you have all this time to spend with Him. You're rushing around doing things under the guise of doing things for God, and all of a sudden you have a health crisis, and then you have nothing but time to spend with God. Make spending time with God a focus and a priority of your life so that God will have to help you prioritize Him. I actually saw in a recent devotional by Rick Warren, he was talking about quiet time with God. Also, he used the verse Matthew 6, verses 6 through 8 from the Message version. Here's what I want you to do. Find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. Basically, take your time with God, not only just to be quiet but private, that you're not putting on airs for anybody. It's just you and God, and watch the focus switch from you to God. Powerful. Another thing I saw in a recent devotional is they talk about all the time in the scriptures how Jesus separated Himself to be able to have quiet time with God. And the devotional asked, are you stronger than Jesus? And that hit me hard because I know I'm not. So how can I say, oh, I can forego my quiet time with God if Jesus, who was God, did not forego His quiet time with God? Taking time to be with God, to be quiet with God, is not only important, it's paramount to your spiritual health, your mental health, and even your physical health. Focus this week on trying to start out with 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes belong to God alone. And watch, naturally, you will start to increase the time without even realizing you're doing it. Because in that time, you get the peace and the clarity and the centeredness that you need to deal with everything else throughout your day. I hope that helped you. Take care.